tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money will put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the daunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
All right, it's 10 a.m. and it's time for ATN's Open Conversation, which is a network flagship political platform through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Now, through these conversations, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on ATN Open Conversation, we take up from PDP Board of Trustee member Idahosa Appellate Tribunal's verdict. And from there on, we're still on PIPT. We'll go over to still on PET. Pandab denies asking Labour Party councils to apologize for judgments. And then we'll go over to Ondo State. Governor Akeredolu sacks Deputy Governor's media aide. In nation building, PDP National Chairman give reason for establishing Democratic Institute. Still on PDP, Atiku's aide calls for Wike's expulsion from party. An anti-party group accuses Minister of plots to destabilize Green Chambers. And 100 days, ex-Minister Adeyeye hails President Tinubu's leadership. And governorship polls called to hear case against INEC September 14. And in Zimbabwe, outcry greets appointment of son-nephew by President Mnangagwa. All of this conversation will bring into you today with a political analyst, as a matter of fact, Mr. Amos Atindiga. We'll take a short break and we'll come back to you on all of the conversations. Stay with us.
Are you a broadcaster, content creator, content distributor, or media practitioner seeking opportunities to amplify your creativity and expand your network? Then join us at the 13th edition of Africast. Africast 2023 offers participants the opportunity to experience 3 days of world-class exposition through plenaries, streamings, master classes, and workshops showcasing the very best in creativity and technological advancements in the global broadcast and media ecosystem. Theme: broadcast content, synergy, finance, and market. Date: Tuesday the 24th of October to Thursday the 26th of October 2023. Venue: Marriott Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. For more inquiries, visit www.africast.com.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
Attention broadcasters, independent producers, and content streamers. This is your chance to buy or sell quality content. At Africast 2023, the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, will be launching the very first ever Nigerian TV and film content hub. Join us from the 24th to the 26th of October at the Marriott Hotel Ikeja, Lagos, and be part of a game-changing experience. Content Hub is your destination for content acquisitions, aggregation, licensing, and distribution of both local and international programs across for broadcasters in Nigeria. For more inquiries, visit www.africast.com.ng. Content Hub, your easy and affordable access to quality and affordable content. Don't miss out. The Africast Content Hub, brought to you by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, in collaboration with NIFS.
people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Good to have you back on ATN's Open Conversation. It's time to have all of the open conversation around politics. I'd like to welcome our very own. He's a reverend gentleman, but he likes to be seen as a, is he a billionaire? When he's here as a political analyst, that's none other than Amos Atindiga. Good to have you here today.
Thank you, Vivian. It's good to be with you here.
How is Nigeria dealing with you?
Fairly, very kindly.
Awesome. Now let's have some PDP BOT conversation, if you may. A member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party representing the South-South geopolitical zone, Charles Idahosa, on Tuesday hailed the verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which affirmed the election of President Bola Tinubu, describing it as perfect. Idahosa, who was a former commissioner for information in Edo State, made this statement in Benin City on Tuesday while interacting with journalists in an event to mark his 70th birthday. He said those insisting that a presidential candidate must win Abuja to be able to win the presidential election should note that people in Abuja are not more Nigerians than people in other states. He added that the last general election was a victim of the social media, which turned out unverifiable news. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal judgment is perfect, the host has said. He said the election was a victim of the social media. A lot of things happen on social media that you cannot verify. How can somebody tell me that if you don't win Abuja, you will not win the presidency? Are people from Abuja different from other Nigerians? I don't understand why people view the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal judgment with sentiment. Some said there is a watermark on the verdict paper. I've read the judgment and it is very clear, not ambiguous. He said, I believe that President Tinubu will make Nigeria great again. On the 2024 Edo State governorship election, the Hosa, who recently received the National Honor Officer of the Federal Republic, said the Edo elections would be free and fair, as the introduction of beavers has made it impossible for the elections to be rigged. All right, I'd like to stop here before I come back to his position. So generally speaking, as far as this is concerned, the tribunal the ruling was perfect. At the same time, he's saying that he believes that Edo 2020 will be free and fair because of the introduction of the beavers. If the beavers did not count, I'm listening to you. If the beavers did not count, because the court, one of the things that came out of the tribunal, presidential tribunal, is that INEC is free to use any method they deem fit to rule. And then according to INEC, they use the normal orthodox means and not the digital devices they paid billions for. So now he should know that he's a politician. So if the beavers didn't count for the presidential election, how exactly is he looking at it, 2024 to be free and fair if he didn't count in the presidential election he has adjudged to be perfect?
No, but the person you are talking about, you already know is a politician. And as far as they are concerned, the elections are free and fair. So you can't, it will just go the same way other elections went. So in the eye of the politician, somebody like him, when he favors you, the election is free and fair.
So he believes that the beavers that didn't work for the presidential election, according to the tribunal, would not work for the governorship election. Are we in the same country or we're operating in a different country altogether?
No, let's not get it mixed. It's not like the beavers did not work in the presidential election.
But according to the tribunal judgment,
the issue is the work of the beavers and IRF count. Did it matter? Was it considered? Did it have any effect on the outcome of the presidential election or the conduct of the elections itself? It was not allowed to. So it really doesn't make any sense talking about the use of beavers is going to ensure that the elections are credible and fair.
That's interesting. But let's come back to it. He is a member of the PDP. To the best of our knowledge, he's not one of the G5. I mean, we know the G5 clearly. So now he is saying that his party candidate, who is running the election, who is a candidate, and who ran the election, and the candidate still, because he's also still contesting for the outcome of the elections. Now, he is saying, Mr. the whole sound, during his 70th birthday, being a politician, saying that the ruling was perfect, there was nothing to fault it. And then those who are saying that Abuja is different from other states, which is one of the outcome of the presidential tribunal court case, that those who are saying that the election is not perfect, they should know that Abuja is not different from. Yeah. But he failed to make us understand, for instance, does Abuja have a national state assembly? Does Abuja have local government council like we do here? All of the things that you could say, okay, you can easily identify in other states where you have a governor and all of that, they don't have it. So if a politician now takes such position, supposedly having all of this knowledge, and now, what is the best way to begin to look at such statements? Something we can go on with or just jettison?
First, we need to, there are, I think, 2 or 3 different angles from what you just mentioned, pointed out here. Now, first, the man in question is a member of the PDP. You said he is not a member of the G5. Of course, G5 constituted comprised of governors. He's not a governor. But then you can't restrict that faction to only those 5 governors. There are many other members of PDP who are followers of these people in question, regardless of whether they are from the same state or not. Now, there are people who share the same sentiments as those who were part of that group.
Yeah.
So it is only natural that whatever favors any member of the G5 or whatever favors their inclination, such people will naturally be tilted towards that as well. So I do not expect the man in question, a former official of the PDP, right?
Yeah.
I do not expect him to see things differently. So that's on the one hand. If he hails the judgment as perfect,
that is not in favor to his
that does not favor his party and does not favor his principle, then I can understand why. Because there are already factions clearly in the PDP. There are already so many misunderstandings going on there. So anybody who does not completely agree with the faction where Atiku Abubakar, their presidential candidate, belongs to, will naturally hail the judgment as perfect. There's nothing more we can expect than that. And don't forget, I mentioned here some time ago that in every group, every tribe, every social gathering, every political gathering, there are people who sometimes can best be described as miscreants. There are members of your family, but they are available for hire. They can be bought over and paid by the highest bidder to do any kind of job at all. That's why when you see a person who clearly belongs here and then is taking a stand that is clearly against the group he belongs to, you should understand that, okay, this person probably has been paid. Has he seen any benefit that made him take this position he is taking, or what exactly it is? Is he really being objective? Now, I don't think the man in question is being objective, because you can't hail the judgment as perfect when we all saw everything that went on during the elections.
So he said his social media readings, they don't really count.
No, social media readings, it's not just about social media readings. The things that are happening in real life are the things that are being transmitted on social media. So you can't just say, oh, they sensationalized everything on social media. They did this, they did that. And so the fact that social media blew these things beyond proportion does not necessarily discredit their verity. Do you understand? It does not stop the fact that they are true. I'm getting to where you pointed out about the FCT. I'm coming there as well. I've not forgotten. Now, I am aware that he feels, okay, there's nothing about that makes Abuja people better than the rest of us. Now, I agree with him on that. Clearly, I know that the ruling of the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal was not exactly what I expected it to be. And I think that there are so many points on which I disagree with them, with that judgment. For instance, you can't tell me that INEC laid down guidelines to conduct elections, then midstream, in the midway, INEC reserves the right to also change the rules of the game in the middle. No, you don't do that. If you say, these are the rules we are playing by, you stick to them. So you can't say they reserve the right to use whatever method they deem fit. It's not whatever method they deem fit. The method they deployed in conducting the elections, they still did not follow it through. So there's something wrong with that kind of judgment. I disagree with it completely. But then when you mention the FCT, I have a different stand. I have a contrary opinion because I have read through, I am not a lawyer, but I have read through the Constitution a little bit. And there is nothing in the Nigerian Constitution that even remotely confers special status on the FCT. Now, from the beginning of the Constitution, the opening letters of the Constitution, what you will see is that the Federation consists of 36 states and the FCT. Now, what it means is that the Federal Republic of Nigeria, every time you mention 36 states and the FCT, it means you are referring to the Federation. You are referring to Nigeria. Because FCT is not a state, you can't leave it out. And you can't number it among the states by saying 37 states of the Federation. The opening line is clearly stated. The Federation consists of 36 states and the FCT. Now, when you read this section of the Constitution that is becoming a problem to us, Section 133, Section 134, subsection 2, and all that, that a candidate must poll 25% votes of the votes cast in 2/3 of the Federation and the FCT, or in 2/3 of the states and the FCT. What they are simply saying, what I know, but I mean, this is basically grammar. It's about English. Now, it does not mean that the Constitution is clearly saying the candidate must score 25%, especially in the FCT, compulsorily for the candidate to have won 2/3 of the majority of the votes. Now, look at it this way. The Federation means is equal to 36 states and the FCT. A candidate must poll 25% of 2/3 of the votes cast in 36 states and the FCT. What they are simply saying is the candidate must score 25% of 2/3 of the votes cast in the election in the Federation. Because the Federation does not constitute of just 36 states. It comprises of 36 states and the FCT. So I don't think there should be any confusion there. In as much as I believe that the elections were not credibly conducted and they were not fair.
Okay, that shouldn't be one of the major arguments.
That shouldn't be one of the major arguments.
It's okay, but we're just wondering, everyone, what do you make of the fact that Edo 2024 will not be rigged because BVAS has made it impossible for people to rig election? And now we are talking about the use of BVAS in the 2023 election. I don't know how much sense that made, but we'd like to hear from you what you all think about that. But if you need to run, I understand. Well, we got you covered. All you need to do is log on to download our app from the App Store, ATN Live, and watch us live from there. Or you can also go to our website, Atlantic Network, the television network.tv. You can watch us live from there. Just log on to Facebook or YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, and you can watch us live from there. Now, let's get back to another interesting conversation that played out in the news yesterday. The Pan Niger Delta Forum has dismissed a report that it asked lawyers to the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party to apologize to their clients in the wake of the judgment of the Presidential Elections Petition Court, on which on Wednesday affirmed the election of President Bola Tinubu. Now, a statement signed by PANDEF's National Publicity Secretary, Ken Robinson, in Abuja on Tuesday, recorded a telephone conversation between him and a reporter of one of the national dailies about the subject matter, adding that the reporter twisted it for personal motives. The statement read, the attention of the PANDEF has been drawn to a news article of 8 September 2023, captioned, "Tribunal defeat, you didn't do a good job," which reported that PANDEF asked lawyers to apologize to their clients for clarity and to correct the misrepresentation. I obliged a brief telephone interview with the correspondent on Thursday, 7 September 2023, during which he asked about PANDEF's reaction to the Presidential Election Petition Court's judgment on the petitions by the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Peter Obi, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. The correspondent was told that PANDEF's interest is in the unity, peace and development of the country and not the nation's democracy, and urged those dissatisfied with the judgment to explore the avenue of appeal. Unfortunately, a personal fringe observation was taken out of context and misquoted in the news article. It is important to restate that the reference news report did not reflect the stance of the PANDEF on the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court and therefore should be ignored. Now, this has to do primarily with the media practitioners. On more than one occasion, you have people in authority come out to say I was quoted out of context. Now, between the public stakeholders, news stakeholders, as the case may be, like this time is and the PANDA spokesperson and the media reporters, how important is it for political reporters or beyond it to be careful, conscious, considering the state of the nation right now in presenting information to the news?
But that is up to you guys in the media.
But you are the part of the consumers of the media content.
Yeah, it's a major challenge we face in the country because media practitioners are not being professional. They are not, it seems everyone is just available for hire, or we either tilt towards sensationalism, such that what you find is everyone is just looking for a headline, a caption that is sensational, that will draw attention, that will make people. But we can do that without necessarily twisting facts, without necessarily twisting what people said. Because you could, you put out something and then pick probably a sentence or a phrase in so much that somebody has said, and then put it without necessarily really putting out there the context. Now, many times when context is not understood, a word could take different kinds of meanings and shapes. So we shouldn't be leaving too much to people's, imagination. People wondering what could have led to this. Why would this person have said this or that? The media can be more circumspect, more careful, so that we don't throw our country into jeopardy, because we are creating more tension and friction with this kind of reporting than it should ordinarily be.
All right, good to know that PANDEF have also come out to clear the air on their position on this particular story. Because when we got that, that didn't sound like PANDEF.
No, because it's wrong. People shouldn't have to come out and clear the air on something they said. I mean, imagine me discussing with you here now, and then tomorrow I'm hearing another thing, and then having to come back and say, no, that's not what I said. Look at what, it does not make sense.
All right, thank you very much, especially in a political heated environment that we are right now. We hope that we all will be careful. But now, Governor, let's get to Ondo State. That is, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State has sacked the media aides attached his deputy, Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa. This is coming as newsmen gathered that the fear of possible dissolution of the State Executive Council seemed to have gripped commissioners and members of the State Government Council. Now, you recall that while the governor was away in Germany on medical vacation, the EXCO became polarized. Since the return of the governor last week, some members of the EXCO have expressed fear that their days are numbered, going by the body language of the governor. Meanwhile, the sack of the aides to the deputy governor was coming ahead of the possible dissolution of the State Executive Council. The sack of the deputy governor's aide was contained in a statement by the governor's chief press secretary, Richard Olatunde, in Akure. Akeredolu said the affected aides should submit all government properties in their possession to the acting permanent secretary, office of the deputy governor. The affected aides include press secretary to the governor, Kenneth Odushola, special assistant to governor, new media, Okiniga Oladipupo, and special assistant to the governor of photography, Abayomi Samson Adefolalu. The statement said all media aides appointed by the Ondo State Governor Arakin Runri, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, and the secondary to the office of the deputy governor have been relieved of their appointment. They are to submit all government properties in their possession to the permanent secretary, office of the deputy governor. Similarly, the press crew attached to the office of the deputy governor has been disbanded. Consequently, all members of the press crew are to report back to their various ministries and stations. Equally, the Ministry of Information Orientation is directed to provide adequate coverage for the activities of the deputy governor office henceforth. All right. Media findings reflect that the aides were sacked following alleged insubordination and flagrant disregard to the appropriate authority. A top government source said that one of the aides of the deputy governor allegedly abused the governor on his WhatsApp status, and the screenshot was shown to the governor's friends while he was away in Germany on a medical vacation. Well, the source also learned that another aide was said to have engaged in the planting of some stories against the governor. Honor. Okay. We're still talking about media practitioner, media practice here, but this time, this is looking like Edo State. But this is actually how I started playing out, from sacking the media aides, media attaché to the deputy governor, and then asking him to depend on the Ministry of Information for whatever he needs. And then the next thing, we saw him being moved out of government house and now, having his office somewhere. To what end exactly do you think all of this power display by this governor, let's start with Akeredolu, for instance, to what end do you think this is going to benefit the people of Ondo State?
Is it really a power play? I don't think it's a display of power. For me, in as much as I do not exactly understand the extent to which he has governed Ondo State and how well he has done that.
Is it the deputy or the governor?
The governor now. I'm talking about the governor. One thing is certain. Disloyalty is probably worse than incompetence. Because no matter how competent a person is, if they are not loyal to you who head the organization, you who lead the organization, they are not a plus. They're a major error in the system. So if the governor traveled out, he was sick, took quite some time, and then came back and has sensed some form of disloyalty amongst his members of staff, it's only fair and appropriate that he fires them. He hired them, so he has the powers to fire them. If I notice anybody in my organization, or in the state I govern, not really being loyal to me, not following the direction of my government, I have a right to, because at the end of the day, whatever they do, right or wrong, will be put on the governor. He is going to take the blame or the credit for whatever job these people do. We keep talking every now and then, say, oh, this person knows how to fish out the good brains, this, that. Whatever, these people are competent, but then somebody assembled them, right? So if they begin to act in a manner that is disloyal, the governor reserves the right to fire them.
Now, yeah, that's quite true. However,
there's another angle to it also, equally, because you see, in Nigeria, even democratic institutions take on dictatorial tendencies. So we could just not let people express their opinions or do anything. We just want yes men around us. People who cannot question or challenge what we're saying or trying to do. People who can take us to task and help us think and say, okay, this thing I'm about to do, is it fair? Is it right? Is it okay? Now, when you don't have, in Nigeria, every time you raise a question about something your boss wants to do or think differently from him, you're automatically an enemy. So, okay, let's fire him. If that is the situation, well, unfortunately, they found themselves in the system called Nigeria.
And the system will always be the system.
Yes.
But there's the concern why the reference was made to Edo State is that this is how it all started panning out with Philip, Shaibu, and Obaseki. And now they've been able to get him a different apartment, not office like the joke. That's what point though. But on a serious note, while he was away, there was this crisis between those allegedly loyal to the governor and those who were loyal to the deputy governor. Initially, he found it really difficult to take over when he passed the letter to the State Assembly to say, hey, I'm going to be away for quite some time. And then so the deputy governor should take over. There was that squabbles, and now part of these guys are supposed to be the deputy governor's direct staff. Now that these people misbehaved under the deputy governor, and he didn't notice or didn't take any action, and it took the governor to come back to say, you guys are fired. Because of a disloyalty or disrespect that happened under him, which he didn't treat, are we looking at, again, the governor coming at him or whatever politically they do in order to show that they cannot tolerate disloyalty, if you may?
Yes, because take, for instance, if we work together and you are supposed to be working under me, and then there are people who are loyal to you and they are not loyal to me, there's a major problem because everyone in the state is loyal to the governor. A situation where some people are loyal to the deputy governor and they are not loyal to the governor and they are doing things that the governor does not agree with, there's a problem with that kind of arrangement. So it means that it also raises a huge question on the loyalty of the deputy governor himself. Now, but then, because the deputy governor was actually elected, the governor can't just fire him. He will have to probably, find reasons why the State Assembly can impeach the deputy governor or do whatever it is that needs to be done to call the deputy governor to order. But he needs to really sit down with the deputy governor and have a serious conversation, because you can't be my subordinate, and then there are people subordinate to you who are not loyal to me. There's something wrong fundamentally.
All right. We'll see how all of this pans out. We have known Akeredolu to be quite a gentleman, by the way. But whether this will come to the point of, because I mean, anyone in his shoes will feel slighted. Because if they did this under the deputy governor and he didn't do anything, but we've known him to be a gentleman, and I hope that Ondo people will be put into consideration in all of it. Now, the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Omar Damagun, has said the party's commitment to development of an enduring democratic culture in Nigeria was the reason behind the establishment of the People's Democratic Institute. He explained that the party was determined to make the institution a hub for research and training for future generations of leaders at the party, state and national levels. Damagun said this during the inauguration of the PDI Establishment Committee at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja on Tuesday. He said that this is no doubt our commitment to making this institution the hub can do a lot of research and develop our democracy within the country and the party at large. The PDI was established more than 15 years ago, he said, as part of efforts to strengthen democracy within the Nigerian context. PDP is the only party that have the foresight to have that kind of institution that can research and develop the democratic tenets. Is that we have embarked on this mission. Ours is to put in our effort so that it can help in the development of democracy within the Nigerian context and even beyond. While addressing members of the new committee, the party's national chairman said, "You are carefully selected as members of this establishment committee because you have distinguished yourselves from where you came from to kickstart the process of bringing someone that can pilot this institution so that it can achieve its goal within the shortest period of time, as there is no time for this institution to be strengthened than now." He enjoined members of the community to be fair and ensure that only the best hands, I believe, were recruited to run the institution. that he promised that the party under his leadership would not interfere in the institution's day-to-day activities in order to ensure it remains independent. So we won't give you free hand, but you should also do it with the fear of God. All right, let's talk about this now. When the former state governor, Ganduje, took over the leadership of APC, one of the first steps he took was, he made an announcement in Kogi, said, I don't know if they've established it, is that they're going to have political schools, institutions at all the polling wards in the politically speaking in Nigerian political wards across the nation, that is. But and now, how they are going to follow that up and what they're going to do about that now. Could that be why Damagun have suddenly remembered, he's also the PDP national chairman, by the way, that there is need for them to bring back this institution to ensure that it begins to live up to its responsibility of providing democratic education to Nigerians and beyond?
Well, any form of education for me is fine. In as much as sometimes for us here, we just set up these institutions, not necessarily to achieve the aim that that warranted it in the first place, just to put up appearances. And for me, I have a problem with putting up appearances and not following through the objective of what you are putting together. But he seems quite serious and persuaded on this thing. Why not? We have to trust him and give him the benefit of the doubt that he really means well and he intends to take deliberate steps to strengthen democratic institutions in Nigeria, which is fair. For me, if you're a Christian, you understand that, okay, there's faith comes, the Bible says faith comes by hearing, right? And hearing by the word of God. So the only way faith is built in anyone, the major way faith is built in anyone is to keep repeating the same thing over and over again in their ears until it establishes a conviction that naturally informs your actions and directs your actions. So this is fine. Let's continue teaching our leaders, those who hold political office, about, governance, democracy. Perhaps at some point we'll be able to embrace the real tenets of this thing and then apply them responsibly so that we can have good governance in Nigeria, because the truth of the matter is it is our major problem.
Exactly. Now, speaking of that being our major problem, do you think we are at the point where Nigerians should actually encourage these parties and maybe other political parties to come up with such institutions, hoping that somehow the political education needed beyond the four walls of the university can get to the grassroots and ensure that people begin to understand when we say democracy, that it's not just about the led, but also those who are taking the lead?
Yeah, I think it will be a step in the right direction, because generally, initially, we thought that, okay, those who are studying political science probably want to go into politics and all that. But it's not the case right now. It's not what is happening in real life. There are people who have found themselves in different walks of life, different disciplines, but then they are actively into politics. They didn't study anything relating to governance or politics or anything. So we need more of such institutions. We need more of such groups coming up. And then people being educated on governance, being enlightened, being trained. Because when you don't train people, you cannot expect any results from them. You can't expect from people what you have not given them. People need to be taught on the basic tenets of governance. Most of our people, most of our leaders, politicians, do not understand what governance is about. That's why somebody just from a classroom or from a church or from a law chamber just swings into government, and then they begin to take steps that are totally wrong, and you are wondering, what kind of leadership is this? What style of governance is this? It's because they were not trained on this thing. Many of them didn't even care to just to actually sit down and educate themselves informally on how to govern people, on what the office requires, except that probably they were picked upon by somebody who is a power broker here, who is in charge and can actually just pick someone and say, you, I want you to be chairman of so local government. I want you to go to the Federal House of Reps. I want you to go to the Senate. Because, I mean, that's how many of these people found themselves in the Senate, found themselves in government house as governor, found themselves in the office as chairman. How are they going? Yes, no proper foundation. How exactly are you going to expect anything from such people?
Okay, all right. I think you've made a very fantastic points there. And I honestly hope that everyone begins to look into this and give them the necessary support, because I believe if we get it right with the political education, maybe we can get it right with governance at all levels. We'll be back to you after the break to look at the reason why Article 8 is saying that Wike should be expelled from the PDP. We'll be back to you after that.
Are you a broadcaster, content creator, content distributor, or media practitioner seeking opportunities to amplify your creativity and expand your network? Then join us at the 13th edition of Africast. Africast 2023 offers participants the opportunity to experience 3 days of world-class exposition through plenaries, streamings, masterclasses, and workshops showcasing the very best in creativity and technological advancements in the global broadcast and media ecosystem. Theme: broadcast content, synergy, finance, and market. Date: Tuesday the 24th of October to Thursday the 26th of October 2023. Venue: Marriott Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. For more inquiries, visit www.africast.com.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting.
Attention broadcasters, independent producers, and content streamers. This is your chance to buy or sell quality content. At Africast 2023, the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, will be launching the very first ever Nigerian TV and film content hub. Join us from the 24th to the 26th of October at the Marriott Hotel Ikeja, Lagos, and be part of a game-changing experience. Content Hub is your destination for content acquisitions, aggregation, licensing, and distribution of both local and international programs across for broadcasters in Nigeria. For more inquiries, visit www.africast.com.ng. Content Hub, your easy and affordable access to quality and affordable content. Don't miss out. The Africast Content Hub, brought to you by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, in collaboration with NIFS.
People. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money we put in the bank.
As I said, there are two sets of people on earth: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between which I...
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Access to our money about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
All right, welcome back to ATN's Open Conversation. We've been talking about several issues, but now there is a very interesting conversation, and we've been on with Mr. Amos at Indiga, and then we've been doing some justice to the issues, and I hope you are making your day good. Now, the Director of Research, Strategy and Documentation of the People's Democratic Party's 2023 presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, that's Dr. Pedro Basiki, has said the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Osunwike's expulsion from the party was a task that must be done for its survival. He said Wike's call for the suspension and expulsion of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, his countless vituperations against the party, as well as his serial acts of betrayal, should earn him some sack. Now, this conversation about the sack of Wike is a call that has been made from several quarters. I'm just going to be straightforward. I don't want us to spend a lot of time on this. Do you think the PDP, as it is presently constituted, have what it takes to sack Wike?
The PDP is a political party. It's an institution. The party, no individual should be bigger than the party, than the party he belongs to. No single person should be bigger than the institution to which they belong. Now, if that is the case, as it should be, why would the PDP not have what it takes to sack any member of the party? The issue here is not about having what it takes or not. There's no question about that. Every institution has what it takes to sack any of its members or employees. The question here is, what has Wike done wrong to warrant a sack? If he has done something wrong, and does the PDP not have a constitution? If the party has a constitution, and you check based on your constitution, he has violated your constitution in any way, it is not about having what it takes or not having what it takes. The person is guilty of so-and-so offense. What does your constitution say? You follow it. So all these calls from here and there, sack Wike, they don't make any sense.
If they have the power and what it takes to sack Wike, and they feel like, they've been accusing him of like anti-party this and that, setting up a cult within the party, what then is stopping them from actually giving Wike the boot?
And that's the issue now. Am I going to be the one who will answer that question? They are the ones.
Maybe there's something you can think of.
They are the ones. They are the ones confusing themselves.
Okay.
They are the ones confusing themselves. You are only you want to govern Nigeria, but you are already establishing within you, amongst your ranks, that your political party is a lawless organization, either a lawless organization or is not guided by any constitution. If it is guided by a constitution, are you following the constitution of your party? If you follow the constitution of your party, the party has its leadership, right? Has its internal processes and procedures to engage or disengage anybody, whether as a member or as an executive of the political party. Are you not following the internal processes and procedures? What are you doing? Why do you need anyone to call you if a person needs to be let go, to be disengaged from the party, or whatever it is? There needs to be no call. When you wait until you are called upon to do something, it's either you do not know your job or you are waiting too long.
You know, interestingly, he was on a national, the former governor of Rivers State, now Minister of FCT, was on a national TV about a week or thereabouts ago and told them that he dared them to sack him.
Good. He dared them to sack him.
And that's the reason why I'm asking, do they even have what it takes? Because if they don't,
No.
Well, if they don't want to...
No, there's no question about whether they have what it takes.
Okay.
The PDP has what it takes to fire any member of the political party.
Is it safe to now say that they don't want to...
The issue is you do not know why you should sack him. You do not have any reason to sack him. If you had any reason to sack him, you would sack him.
Like Obaseki,
unless the PDP itself is a lawless institution.
The Obaseki, okay, well, maybe that's another angle. The Obaseki himself listed two things. He said anti-party during the elections, and then during that he set up a cult group called G5 that disrupted the party processes. Now, if anti-party is a crime in the PDP constitution,
okay,
all of this setting up a cult, like according to him, the G5, if all of these are a crime, and the man have said you don't have what it takes to sack him, that he dare you to sack him, if at the end of the day you feel like this man is still a relevant member of your party, with everything that may have happened between Wike and the PDP, is it out of place for them to begin to think of how to reconcile? Has anything gone so bad that they cannot reconcile?
No, there is no extent to which things have gone bad. There is reconciliation is not an option.
Okay.
You can reconcile at any point at all if they realize. So if the PDP they cannot dispense of Wike, then find ways to reconcile with him. What does he want? But if you are not going to reconcile with him, why do you leave your house in disarray and then you are out here talking about leading Nigeria, governing the country at whatever levels? These things do not make any sense. What are the anti-party activities Wike engaged in? If you can spell them out, and there are grounds for which to sack him, why not? You go ahead and do it. Or is it just for accepting to be a minister under an APC-led government? Does the PDP hate governance? Is the PDP not favorably disposed to people serving the country under whatever platform or umbrella? What is the issue? If the issues are significant, if there are issues that you know you can present to the public and say, look, Wike has done this, he has done that, sack him.
But if not,
then let them keep quiet and find ways to reconcile.
Okay, I think I'll take the letter for them.
That's
yeah. I think they should reconcile.
That's all they need to do. Yes, reconcile.
Anyway.
It's obvious you can't do without the FCT minister. Reconcile with him.
I think we should do that. We should ask them to do that. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. Now, the Niger Delta Rights advocates have accused the Minister of State for Labour, Nkiruka Onyejocha, of engaging in anti-party activities and plotting to destabilize the leadership of the House of Representatives. The women's wing of NDRA raised the concerns, alleging that the minister was planning to return to the House of Representatives through court processes eyeing the speakership. In a statement signed on behalf of the wing, National Women Leader, NDRA, Clara Nkwocha, and Welfare Officer, NDRA, Gloria Kabara, said the moves of the Minister of State for Labour were at variance in the clamor by civil society organizations for the implementation of the 35% affirmative action for women. The group said, recall that our organization had issued a communique on August 26 and 23 on a potpourri of issues, which included the vexed issue of appointing and recycling persons very well known in the 9 states that make up the Niger Delta region as polyperennials into cabinet as ministers. As if we knew that today would come, one of such individuals who has not settled down to design a roadmap to end the incessant trade dispute witnessed in the country, which her ministry should be preferring solutions and tackling, is Nkiruka Onyejocha, the Minister of State for Labour. NDRA Women Wing is alarmed at the haste with which Minister Onyejocha is running around the court to ensure she finds her way back to the House of Representatives for a fictitious journey to represent her selfish interests and not that of her constituents, by ensuring the destabilization of the House leadership by extension, becoming a cog in the wheel of progress of the Tinubu administration. Now, our calculation is that a paltry 19.5% of Mr. President's cabinet ministers are women. And what then is the logic behind one of the women sponsoring court cases from behind in order to destabilize her own party, the APC, and lose the ministerial slot with the dream of returning to the House of Representatives to become Speaker of the Parliament? So NDRA's Women Wing expressed disappointment in the self-serving agenda of the minister aimed only at destabilizing the House leadership and throwing a spanner to the works, giving the camaraderie, partnership, and mutual respect existing between the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas-led House of Representatives, and the executive arm of government under President Bola Tinubu. First off, if this were not a women group, if this NDRA were not women group, I would say it's because they are men. That's why they don't want her to, get into the House. But I don't understand it. Maybe you can help me to make sense of this. Because first of all, she lost the election. Supposedly, she was appointed Minister of State for Labour, which has taken up the portfolio, and she's yet to recant that, like to say she doesn't want to do that again. Now, she just won at the state. Her spokesperson was giving a press briefing on that. Now, let's even assume that she wins at the appeal because the Labour Party president he's going to appeal. Let's even assume that she wins. And then there's a situation, there's a possibility for her to become the Speaker of the House of Representatives. I don't know how that would work because they've already done their thing. Let's even assume that all of this is possible. What is wrong in having ambition and pursuing it because you're a female or whether you're a male?
The whole thing doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense because if Honorable Nkiruka decides she wants to pursue the case in court to secure, to recover her mandate, in her opinion, because as far as she is concerned, she believes she won the elections. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why in Nigeria we feel people can just let things go, even when the wrong thing has clearly been done, they have been clearly wrong. I mean, people are entitled to want to get closure. People are entitled to want to insist on having their rights or on defending their own rights. So she's acting well within her rights. I don't know what the women's problem is. Now, if she's in court trying to recover that mandate, and you feel that threatens the position, her position in President Tinubu's cabinet, and so the women stand a chance to lose that position. The question I want to ask is Honorable Nkiruka the only woman in Nigeria? Is she the only woman in the APC? Does the APC as a political party not have other women who are equally competent enough to be brought in as Minister of State for Labour? They can, so this entire argument does not make any sense. Where is the confusion the lady is bringing? There's no confusion. The Federal House of Reps does not lack a speaker, and neither is any one member going into the Federal House of Reps and then disrupting the House leadership just by appearance. I don't understand. Where is the constitutional provision that says, oh, Nkiruka has been there for the past 4 tenures. She's been a 4-term member of the Federal House of Reps. And so once she comes in, she's taking over as a speaker. There's nowhere it is written. So what exactly is their headache? We must allow people live their lives in this country without intimidation.
Amen. Let's just leave it with that amen. Now, let's get to another very interesting conversation that's in the news, politically speaking. Okay. Now, the former Minister of State for Work, Senator Dayo Adeyeye, has said that President Bola Tinubu has demonstrated capacity to lead in his first 100 days in office. Adeyeye, who is the national coordinator of Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju, a political group that canvassed for Tinubu in the 2023 presidential election, spoke in Osun State on Tuesday at the distribution of bags of rice donated by Swagger to residents to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal. According to him, before the presidential election, the group had told Nigerians to support Tinubu as he possessed the right attributes of the kind of leader Nigeria needed to turn out its fortune. He, however, said after 100 days in office, there was no reason for regret, adding that the fortune of the country would further improve in the distant future under Tinubu's watch. He said, in the last 100 days, Tinubu has demonstrated tremendous capacity for leadership. Tinubu said in India, he said that in India that Nigeria has human resources, but we lack leadership. But he has come to offer himself. In the last 100 days, he came in and announced stoppage of paying fuel subsidy, which was a huge scam organized by the states that has affected the economy of Nigeria in the worst manner possible. He stops that. We are seeing the results of that. We can see that we have been making other countries rich. This decision is attracting foreign investors. I believe that in the next few months, we will see more good on the reforms that Asiwaju has put in place. While speaking on the decision by the group to make available food for the residents of Osun, the chieftain of the All Progressive Congress in the state, Ayo Omidiran said Swagger decided to make available food items for the people to make them happy. All right, they went for food distribution. And according to him, Tinubu has shown leadership. And when I saw this story, when the producer sent it, I was listening, reading it. I was trying to okay, let me take note, because I didn't see a comprehensive statement from the State House that usually marks a governor or a president 100 days in office. So now that the party spokesperson was speaking, I was trying to take notes. This is what he has done. This is what he has done that has shown leadership. Again, let's talk about the fuel subsidy removal. Did President Tinubu remove fuel subsidy? Let's start from there. Because that seemed to be one thing that a lot of these stakeholders are holding on to say he has shown leadership by removing fuel subsidy. Was it President Tinubu that removed the fuel subsidy or President Buhari?
I agree with them that President Tinubu removed fuel subsidy.
Okay.
Why? Because he's president right now. There was no budgetary provision for fuel subsidy in our budget beyond June, right? From what they said.
Yes.
Tinubu reserved the right to actually send in a supplementary budget requesting for money to be able to continue with fuel subsidy. So I agree with them that he removed subsidy, petrol subsidy. The question I want to ask is how that makes him such a fantastic leader. How does that make him such a wonderful leader? What positive step did he take in that regard? In every other sane country, the leaders are looking for ways to be socially responsible to their people, to the people that they lead. They are looking for ways to subsidize the living, you understand, the cost of living for their citizens. Here, instead of doing that, our government keeps taking steps that directly hike up and keep making the cost of living here totally unbearable. How does removal of subsidy affect, help the common man on the street? It does not help us. You said we were enriching other countries through subsidy. How were we enriching them? If indeed we were enriching them, who was the person enriching those countries? And why are we not stopping the person from enriching the other countries? So instead of attacking where the problem really is, you look for the weaker people. Those is like, you offend me, but you are too strong. So I run away from you and attack the other fellow there because she is weak. She looks weaker. So let's attack him. He can't do anything. Which is the only way we have been governed in Nigeria so far. And that clearly tells you that these people are not ready to solve any problem. You're not ready to solve any problem. You're not ready to make life easier for Nigerians. You just want to be there and continue creating impressions, putting up appearances and all that. So you withdraw subsidy that at least the rich people were eating, but we were also managing to at least get a little benefit out of it. You withdrew it. If you wanted to solve this problem, the issue was to stop the people who were diverting subsidy funds, to stop the people who were diverting petroleum products, to fish them out, deal with them, and then create a system that forbids them from doing that. But you didn't do that. You withdrew it. Then you say, oh, petrol price has gone up. Then you begin to tokenize us again, carry a few moodles of rice and go to a few settlements, give to a few individuals. Please, let Swagger extend this kind gesture. I don't know how many people they gave rice to in Osun State. Let them spread it to other parts of the country too, so that we too can at least enjoy this, their benevolence, and enjoy this good governance with them. Let them extend the rice. Feed the rest of us in Nigeria until Tinubu has good intentions. Feed all of us until we can afford the cost of living and the cost of petrol in the market. What kind of nonsense talk is that?
Swagger, now you have a responsibility. Give us rice, give us petrol. I mean, that's what should be what leaders. You know, the interesting thing about this statement by Swagger is that if you look at it side by side and ask yourself, what is leadership? A leader is the one who guides. A leader is the one who sets the example. Now, if you talk about guidance in terms of the way the fuel subsidy removal had happened, for instance, you ask yourself, what plan do you have? Ongoing subsidy is there, for instance. Suppose palliative is there, for instance. What is the plan to ensure that the measures being put out there? Look at people dragging rice. There's a video we shared, I think, on Monday. So an old woman literally was flung to the ground where people are dragging, like you said, models of rice. Why do you think that? Is it because people at that level are comfortable, like he has more than enough, he's able to distribute? What is the reason why people look at Nigerians in the face and they wouldn't tell the leaders the truth, but they begin to tell stories that clearly Nigerians don't accept?
No, the disrespect, the insult. Do you understand? Because you look at these people, at Nigerians, and then feel like we are stupid, like we don't have sense, or we don't know anything. Just because people are poor does not mean they are senseless. It does not mean they are stupid. Nigerians are not stupid.
It has to be
Stop insulting people's intelligence like that. You can't just stand up, be talking. And what is more annoying is the fact that some of these people making these careless statements are themselves not even living well. This thing is affecting them. But they just need to keep hailing these wicked leaders for tokens, for handouts, to just receive little handouts to keep surviving. So for them, at least they have seen where to collect small change and keep life going. So what happens to the rest of us? Even you, in the long run, what happens to you? What becomes of your life? Because you can't keep singing like this all your life. Talking, talking senselessly up and down.
All right.
Tinubu has not taken one step that shows, oh, this is a leader. Every single thing they said he is capable of doing, he has proven already within this short period of time that he is incapable of that. Who are the powerful brains he is capable of fishing out and assembling? Where are they? Where are they in his cabinet? We can see, and we see the kind of people he has brought on board. Who are the people he brought in? Any new brains? Any new people who were expecting anything new from? Nothing special about even his cabinet. That's one. And then on the other hand, you are also looking at this man. You say, oh, no, he is courageous. Now, what annoys me is to tag Tinubu's cowardice to courage. To tag it as courage, to claim that his cowardice is courage, that, oh, he took a bold step, a courageous step to remove subsidy that other governments were afraid to remove. That is nonsense. If Tinubu is courageous, if he has the balls, I dare him to fish out subsidy, those who created the subsidy scam and were stealing us blind, diverting petroleum products to other countries. I dare him to face them, fish them out, punish them, make them face the law, and then restore subsidy and let it run transparently and responsibly.
Okay. Apologies for language, but Nigerians seem to be angry, and sometimes we don't have all the power to say, don't go there in open conversation. But let's look at something else real quick, Mr. Atindiga. Now, the FCT High Court sitting in Boari has fixed September 14 for definite hearing of a motion seeking an order to commit the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to prison over alleged disobedience to court order. Justice Mohammed Madugu fixed the date following a committal charge which emanated from a suit filed by counsel to the plaintiffs, Michael Ajara. Why the plaintiffs are Otumba Kamaru Latif Ogidan and Mustafa Rabiu, Chief Victor Oye and Professor Yakubu are first and second respondents in the suit. Ogidan and Rabiu emerged as National Vice Chairman, Southwest Geopolitical Zone of All Progressives Grand Alliance and National Welfare Officer, ABGA, respectively, at the Owerri Convention of May 31, 2019, under the leadership of Chief Edozie Njoku. The national chairman of the party, Yakubu, was alleged to have refused to recognize Chief Njoku as the rightful national chairman of ABGA and went ahead to establish names of governorship candidates which did not emanate from Njoku for ABGA for the November 11 elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. He said the INEC boss continued to recognize Oye as a national chairman of ABGA, as against the court order. Justice Maduga consequently adjourned Oye's matter until September 28 for hearing. Again, the key player in the event of 2023 is in the question again, and that's none other than Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the chairman of INEC. What one finds curious is, how can you explain the audacity with which Nigerian political leaders or appointed leaders in Nigeria disregard the rule of law? Is there any way to better explain that audacity that keeps staring us in the face, and unfortunately nothing is being done about it across board?
There's no way to explain it other than the fact that we live in a lawless society, and where we claim we have a constitution, we have laws, but nobody gives a damn about the law. The people who are at the helm of affairs are basically the ones dictating what they want. Mm-hmm. So whatever I wake up from my bed and decide is what I want, we will hire lawyers and or hire judges and make them force the Constitution to say that thing. Bend the Constitution to say something that is my wish. And so our leaders are too powerful. They are too powerful. Until we get to the point where power leaves these people and returns to the masses, there will be no regard for the law.
Unfortunately, there's nothing more to be said but to just leave it at that. It's become a reality, one we don't know how to get out of, because the rate at which leaders disregard the rule of law in this country, I don't know what will become of us. But let's see if we can get to Zimbabwe. There seems to be an interesting conversation there. So President Emerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe has appointed his son, David Kudakawakwashe Mnangagwa, as the Deputy Finance Minister in a new cabinet following his re-election. The appointment, which happened on Monday, however, has been greeted with backlash criticism on Monday, as this raised concerns about nepotism within the government. While the 34-year-old David Mnangagwa will serve as the Deputy Finance Minister, Mthuli Nkube, his cousin and the president's nephew, Tongai Mfidi Mnangagwa, was also named Deputy Minister of Tourism and Hospitality. This decision is part of the newly constituted cabinet consisting of 26 ministries. Local media reported a lawmaker from the Citizens Coalition for Change, Fadzaya Mahare, criticized President Mnangagwa's cabinet, describing it as indefensible. She raised concerns about the legitimacy, corruption, violence, nepotism, incompetence, and ethical issues within the government, according to African News. Mnangagwa appointed a husband and wife team, Christopher, Monica, and Sulvangwa, as ministers. He gave Christopher the power to lead the new Ministry of Veterans of Liberation, while Monica Zungwa is the new Minister of Women Affairs and SMEs. This is coming as African leaders have been considered both power-hungry and long-serving, and have made the continent experience rising coups in the Sahel recently. Do you think we will ever learn in Africa in the course of practicing the so-called democracy we inherited from the white man?
No, we will learn at some point when the people, the masses, stop letting them get away with such brazen impunity. You understand? And disrespect for the masses. That's the only way our leaders are going to learn. Now, coups are erupting here and there, springing up in different countries in Africa. And then they wonder why. But they give these people, the military, reasons to step in and say, look, enough is enough. You've done enough damage. So now when you have been so bad until it gets to a point where a bad person tells you that your own bad is too much, then you've overdone it. You've overdone it. You said a dictatorship is wrong, and the dictatorship stands on the sidelines and observes your kind of democracy. And your type of democracy is scary to the dictator. And he says, this thing is getting out of hand. And then they step in to try to help. Now you need to check how you are doing this, your own democracy. We can't keep blaming people for protesting or anything. If what he is doing is right. Now, I understand that in developed countries, now, and even in developed countries, this will really, really be frowned at, because are there no other intelligent people in the country, competent people in the country who can handle these offices except members of your family? Haba. So it may seem as though President, what's that his name again? Nangagwa or whatever, Nangagwa. It's like their family, is trained on governance. So this is their core competence. They learned governance from the womb. So since they came out, nobody in Zimbabwe qualifies to lead. It has to be somebody from their family. They fetch them. What kind of misbehavior is that? You know, so, and they do these things without even batting an eye, without looking at anybody's face. They don't care, because they feel I can do whatever I want and get away with it. It is wrong. It has to. We have gotten to the point where I think that the masses all over Africa need to begin to tell the people where to draw the line. Okay. Where we can't continue like this.
Just a quick one, but again, isn't it even more interesting that the man who is towing this line was the man who fought Robert Mugabe to a standstill because he has stayed so long in office, and now he's doing his third tenure, and now he is the one that seems to be very nepotistic in his appointments. Again, can Africa be saved?
That's another problem. That's another problem, because right now we have this problem of, you see, someone who has been so abused and battered to the point where you become skeptical and suspicious of everyone. You can't trust anybody anymore, because everyone who came and posed as a friend suddenly ended up as an abuser, ended up as an enemy. Because you open up to this person, they hurt you, then you move on to the next one, and like that until it gets to the point where you begin to have trust issues. Now, that is the situation we have unfortunately created in Africa. Right now, majority of what the most of what we're experiencing in Africa is that even people who parade themselves as human rights activists, as people who are social crusaders, we can't trust them anymore, because it seems like they are not fighting for justice for the common man or for everyone. They are just fighting for a chance to also step in and have the opportunity to display power, to demonstrate who they really are. So social activism, civil society organizations, whatever it is, have now just simply merely become a front that many Africans are using to be able to access the levels of power, which is very, very wrong.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amos Atindiga, for being part of ATN Open Conversation. It's always refreshing to know that there are Nigerians who can still speak truth to power, and that's the way. Saying a very big thank you once again for being here today.
Thank you, Vivian, and thank you, viewers, too, for having me.
All right, now, if you miss any part of the conversation, we've got you covered. All you need to do is log on to our Facebook and YouTube pages. We'll have the show streamed live there, where you can watch us live, or you can get the full details of the show. We look forward to hearing from you. And now, while you watch us on Facebook, Atlantic, and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, you can also follow us on other social media platforms on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. On X, we're Atlantic TV Net. Remember that you can also watch us live on our website, Atlantic TV, Atlantic Television Network.tv, and on our app, ATN Live. But until then, do remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister at the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not